How much do you know about cars, and do you trust your mechanic when you're told something has to be fixed? Of course, most people's knowledge of cars forces them to trust what they're told. Tonight, we begin a focus on repairs to that most important part of a car, the brakes. How do you know that your brakes really need replacing when you're told they do? Our consumer reporter Stu McNish talked to a man today who says he's found out that you can't always believe the first diagnosis.
Canadian Tire openly brags it does more brake jobs than anyone else in Canada. Retired police officer David Farron brought his car to the national chain to have his tires changed. But when he picked up his car, he was told he needed new brakes, even though he didn't ask the mechanic to check the brakes.
When they brought me the bill, they told me that my brakes were shot. They said I had 85% in the back, 85 or 95% worn down in the front, and it was going to cost me $350, and this was their estimate. I hadn't asked for the estimate. Anyway, I just didn't feel right about it, and I continued to drive, and that was in March, and I drove up until September. But a little worried all the time, but I knew that I was right, that it wasn't necessary. Anyway, went to Speedy Muffler last week, and lo and behold, I still had 70% left on my front brakes and 40% left on the back brakes. I got the back brakes redone, but it wasn't really necessary at the time, as they told me. And I'm really ticked right off.
So we went to Canadian Tire to ask them why they even bothered to check the brakes at all. I have a question about this work order here. Mm-hmm. Is it standard practice that you would check brakes?
We check brakes with every work order, yeah.
How come?
It's just they have orders in there. Brake inspection, it's up front. All brake inspections are included.
They are?
Yeah, it's up front. Free brake inspection with every work order. It's just up front, I can show you.
He looked for the sign, but wasn't able to find it. Next, we wanted to know why Canadian Tire's estimate was so different than Speedy's. How can there be such a great discrepancy?
I have no idea. Maybe they only checked one side. Maybe one side was worn out. Maybe not. I don't know. And all the mechanics do, they come out and they tell us what they checked, and then we just write it on the work order.
So who was right, Canadian Tire or Speedy? In this case, we don't know because we didn't get to see the brakes. However, according to government standards, brake pads do not have to be replaced until there is less than 1/16 of an inch left. Surprisingly enough, this brake pad is still okay, even though it's considerably smaller than a new one. And interestingly, most mechanics don't actually measure the thickness of the pad. Instead, they eyeball it, and then using their experience, determine the state of your brakes. There are thousands of different mechanics, and naturally there are a variety of estimates. Tomorrow, we'll show you the surprising results from a variety of brake shops that we tested.
One other note, we tried to talk to senior management at...
Light is here.
It is the kind of thing that strikes fear into the hearts of many car owners, taking their vehicle in to get the brakes checked. Last night, we told you about a man who says he was told his brakes needed replacing and later found out they were fine. Tonight, as we continue our focus on brake repairs, our consumer reporter Stu McNish shows us what happened when he took a pre-tested car to several different shops for a brake check.
That's a 1987 Civic hatchback.
Slow. Straight ahead.
It belongs to a BCIT journalism student. The brakes are old, but they don't need to be replaced yet. We had mechanic John Puffer check them out properly. His job?
No signs of leakage.
Tell us the exact state of the brakes. He did everything. Measured the thickness of the rear lining, the front pads, the rotors. He checked out the adjusters and calipers, and here's what he said. Good working condition?
Yes, good working condition, yes.
Don't need to be replaced?
No.
How many more kilometers do you think out of that?
I would say probably in the area of 10 to 15,000 kilometers.
Our mechanic says the front pads still have 65% left, the rear 30%, but the rotors are undersized and will have to be changed when the brakes are done in the next 4 to 6 months. We then put the wheels back on the car and took it to a variety of name brand brake shops. And remarkably, the assessment on the condition of the brakes was considerably different with each place.
I'm going to be taking a trip this weekend, and I just wanted to give my car a good once-over.
Like do an
just
oil
look
change,
over.
just check it over?
Just check it over.
At this Canadian Tire in Surrey, the mechanic eyeballed the brakes, as is standard practice in the industry, and told us the front brake pads had 50% left the rear brakes only 10%, and he didn't even mention the undersized rotors.
For everyday driving, is it okay?
Well, you might get maybe a couple of weeks out of them.
A couple of weeks?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's considerably less than the 4 to 6 months our mechanic said was left. We then went to Kmart. The mechanics there did the same eyeball check and told her she had about 6 months left.
So what percentage would you say they're down?
50% on the front.
Okay.
He said about 50% on the front. He didn't mention the back, and once again, no word about the rotors. Next, we went to Fountain Tire. They did everything our mechanic did, and they came up with the same assessment. They even pointed out the rotors.
The fronts are okay, but the brake rotors are undersized.
Okay. Hey, I was just wondering if I could get my brakes checked.
Sure.
Then we went to Shortstop Brake and Muffler, where they told her she needed to have everything done, including
Something that sends a chill down the spine of many drivers, getting their brakes checked. We brought you a horror story from one motorist and took a pre-tested car into several shops where we got wildly different estimates. Well, tonight, Stu McNish tells you what you can do to get a mechanic you can trust.
John, how do I know whether or not you're a good mechanic? Sure, you tell me you are, but prove it to me.
Well, Stu, I honestly believe a mechanic is someone that your customer has to trust. Probably one of the best ways of finding a good mechanic is by word of mouth.
Or you might ask to see the appointment book and at random pick 4 or 5 customers and call them. As well, look for the mechanic's certificate. Is it hanging on the wall?
They Air Care certified, a government designated inspection facility, their certification from the apprenticeship board, and any other literature. It's usually well placed in the office so that customers can see it, because I believe it's a strong point in.
Even if you like the mechanic's credentials, but you haven't dealt with that company before, don't be afraid to ask to see the old parts.
When we do brake inspections, we prefer to show you the parts that are on the car when the car comes in. And then,
Like on the car?
on the car, as we lift the car up, we take the wheels off, we take you into the shop, we show you exactly what you have and what you should have.
So none of this drop the car off, come back in an hour?
No, no, we prefer it that way. And if we do the brakes on your car without you seeing them, we prefer to show you your parts at the end of the day.
If you're still not sure, then have them prove it.
Well, I would show you, if you had some doubt, I would show you a new pad. You know, I could show you what a new brake pad would have for clearance between the top of the pad surface and the bottom of the rivet. And, you know, people should be aware that once they get to within, say, a 1/16 of an inch of this rivet, those pads should be replaced. You don't leave them until they get right into the rivets to replace them.
Then there's the price of the job. How do you know if you're being charged fairly?
You can always, if you get a brake estimate, you can always phone another shop and say, look, I've had my brakes tested or checked. These are the parts that it needs. Could you quote me specifically on that, the price of the parts and the labor? And then it gives you a guideline as to whether the shop that you're dealing at or had your brakes inspected at is overcharging or charging you a fair price.
One other thing you can do is call the Better Business Bureau.
You should shop around and get our report. Find out what the charge is going to be, get our report, and get references as well. Find out if they have other satisfied customers. Check out the information.
Okay. Now, if you didn't do all of these things before you got the work done and you feel like you've been ripped off, then complain to the shop owner and the Better Business Bureau. Who knows, you just might get some of your money back.
And here's one more tip. Don't be afraid to ask the mechanic if his paycheck includes commission on the parts that he sold.